You are listening to the BlahCade podcast. I'm your host, Chris Freebus, aka Shut Your Trap. Joining me as always from down under on this, a Father's Day for the Southern Hemisphere, Jared Morgan.
G'day, Chris. I'm wearing my big pointy hat at the
Yes,
moment. And it's for those people who aren't joining us. It's a red paper crown with paper triangles stuck all around it. And what you can't see is the little jewels on the top of each point of the crown.
oh, there you go.
So it's
It's the
very, very
deluxe.
good.
It's the deluxe Burger King crown for
It
those
is.
that are thinking of visual reference here.
That's right. It is the deluxe Burger King crown. So I did very well today at Father's Day. I got some more cologne, and I'm just rattling the paper here. I got the biggest log of Rocky Road you've ever seen in your life. This is
That's
homemade.
definitely a log of something brown and lumpy. Yes.
So the scale. This is actually my hand,
My goodness.
and that's the that's the length of the Rocky Road. So it's huge. There will be a share on that one.
I was gonna say there's a few calories in that one.
Yeah, that's right. That one's definitely on a diet piece of Rocky Road. So we'll be sharing that one. And later on today, we'll be going to see The Secret Life of Pets
Very good.
at the cinema. Yeah, so that'll be fun.
Yep, that is an amusing movie.
Yeah, it looks really good. I've heard interesting things about Sausage Fest as well, which I think I'd like to go and see, but probably not with the kids.
Yeah, that's when I'll wait for video and have the
Yeah,
headphones on and you know.
yeah. And laugh your head off, but
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
it's going to be so
Yeah,
good.
though I think I was watching something when a commercial for that came on, and my son kind of came in and he was like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Just ignore it. You're not going to be able to see it."
Not until you're 18.
Yeah. It's great. There's a South Park is going to be having their 20th season, which is just mind blowing to me.
20th season.
20th season starting up, and so they've been running a commercial that has been basically we've been with you throughout all the years, and so it starts with this dad and his little baby and watching South Park, and it shows this kid watching South Park throughout the years,
Yeah,
and of course they're showing just the most vile portions of the TV show,
of course they
and
are.
here you got and it turns out it's a girl, and she's all just prim and nice and looks like a perfectly pleasant girl, and it's all her little life events happening, and then married with these South Park moments. It's pretty funny because
That sounds awesome.
it's just so wrong.
Yeah, it's so wrong, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. That would be typical South Park. They wouldn't do it any differently, would they, when they were promoting their own
No, God,
20th
of
anniversary?
course not.
Because Simpsons are up to like nearly 30 seasons now, right?
They're at
They're,
26 or 27. Yeah.
they're very close.
Yeah.
But yeah, gee, that's pretty impressive. 20 seasons of South Park. I stopped watching probably after about season 8, I
You
think.
know what? There was a time when I stopped watching, and then I started watching it again probably, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 seasons ago,
Mm.
and I was blown away at the leaps and bounds of how much better the writing was. Because it used to just
Oh,
be,
right.
it was kind of your typical TV show, and some of the jokes were getting kind of old, right?
Yeah.
And then they all of a sudden started going topical,
Oh,
and it was brilliant, just nailing. And the thing is because they literally write their show and animate it in one week,
did
and
they?
yeah, they do. They do what they
Wow.
call this crunch period, where all of a sudden they'll have some outlines and everything.
Mm.
They'll sit in there and go, and they'll just go 6 days in a row, just nonstop, and then turn that show in, 4 days later. So they were able to
Wow.
really hit upon some of the news items that were happening, and it was fantastic. It was just like brilliant. I mean, they'd scrap entire episodes that they'd already planned because something would happen in the news. They're like, nope, that's what we're going to be
We're
talking
going
about.
to be parodying it
Exactly.
because,
And
right.
now they've morphed into doing season-long arc of storyline,
Oh,
which
right.
has opened up a whole new battery of just humor. So it's better than ever. I mean,
Oh, wow. Okay. I've
it's
got some
definitely worth
catching up
checking
to
out
do
again.
then. I don't know. I I watched one sort of like work in a pretty geeky organization, so we
Right.
do share around a few YouTube videos of South Park snippets, and I watched a couple the other day, and I was sort of sitting there just going, uh, okay, I mean I used to watch this when I was like 21 or
Right.
22,
Right.
And I'm looking at it now going, oh, it's a little bit sort of, the humor was a little bit sort of cheap, but maybe that was the like the earlier seasons that they were taking the grabs from. I'm not sure. Maybe I should give
Yeah.
it another go.
You got to give it
Uh,
another go.
mm.
Especially the last season, I think it was the takeover of South Park by like Whole Foods, and so it was basically the gentrification of South Park, and I think that was last season. Anyway, it was brilliant. Me
Oh
and
yeah,
this other guy, camera assistant, we were just constantly because what airs on Wednesdays, I think every Thursday we
yeah.
were coming in and just like throwing out lines of dialogue at each other and stuff. So it
Just
was
laughing your heads off.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So we had in last week Xenia, also known as Sven, because
Yeah,
Sven is much easier to pronounce than Xenia.
yeah.
Anyway, Sven joined us for most of the podcast, and that was pretty good fun time. But what it made me realize is that me and Sven have kind of a thing going on with Zen Pinball,
All right.
and and so what that is that because you've never there is no nostalgia for Zen, you know.
No, please.
You never worked in it. You never got to play it in an arcade. You never got to physically have the machine. It was never part of any significant moments in your life, you know, that you can recall or flash back to.
That's right.
So it's one of those things that I always find that I can go months without playing it, and I don't really feel like I'm missing it. But then I'll
Yeah,
start playing it again and be like, oh, that's kind of fun. Well, what I realize is you need to have somebody to play against. You got to
yeah, you
have your
do.
foil. And what you ideally need is a foil who is on equal grounds to you. And
Yes.
Sven is that when it comes to Zen Pinball with me. So we like to do back and forth, where now and then all of a sudden I'll get a tweet from him saying, hey, better check your scores. And I'll check my scores and be like, you bested me on some of these. And then I'll do the exact same thing to him.
Yeah.
So this past week, I have been playing exclusively all of the 13 Star Wars tables on Zen Pinball FX2.
Ah, right.
And I had a better score than Sven on probably 6 of the tables.
Mm.
So I decided to take care of or maybe 7, and yeah, I think it was 7 of the tables, and so I decided to take care of the remaining 6 and just knock him off.
Right.
So I went ahead and worked my butt off. Yeah, because playing pinball is hard work. Proceeded to get a better high score on all the tables, and then sent out a tweet alerting him that I had taken that burden off of his shoulder and he could relax now. To which he immediately sent a tweet the next day saying, yeah, you might want to check your scores on these 2 tables. For which then I immediately went and took care of one of those tables. So what it got me, though, realizing is all the different designers, because there's a total of 5 different designers that have worked on all the various Star Wars tables. And why is it that some of the tables I enjoy, some of the tables I don't, and let's try and pair up if these designers happen to match up to any of the other Zen tables that I actually do like.
Yeah, totally.
So I just kind of want to, I don't know, do a little summary. You up for that?
Yeah, I'm up for a bit of a summary. I haven't touched Zen for ages. I guess I've just been so into just TPA beta testing and stuff that you're right. I never fire up Zen because I don't know. Maybe it's because the tables tend to be more long play. I don't have time for long play. But yeah, I just haven't played them for ages either. And
well, I will say this too. One of the reasons why I haven't been playing TPA is because since I'm on the new computer and my save file is not there, none of my wizard goals are met,
yeah.
and that bothers me. So, meanwhile, I fire up Zen, and hey, look at that! It remembered every single one of my medals that I've won or achievements that I've won.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it all just works.
Right.
That's
So
why.
I just don't feel like working and putting in time. I mean, yes, my high scores are still up on the leaderboards,
Yeah.
but local high scores are all gone, and like I said, all the wizard goals are gone. So that got me also like, you know what? I'll fire up Zen. Why not? And I actually did try out a bunch of other tables, but the Star Wars ones I realized that I hadn't touched. I mean, other than a couple of playthroughs, a lot of them I've never put really much time into.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of go through in reverse order, what I think of the tables.
Okay.
So the table that I hope to never have to play again would be Masters of the Force.
Yeah,
Masters
I
of the
really
Force.
regret purchasing that
Oh my
one.
God, it's painful.
It's
This is a
horrible.
table that they did the same thing with Starfighter Assault, where they split the table in two, basically in half, and
Yeah.
half the side is Sith, half the side is light side, and you're supposed to. Honestly, I have not been able to make heads or tails of this table. There's supposed to be some way of shifting the balance towards one side or the other in terms of what your wizard goals are wind up being. But what I have found with this table is it has some of the narrowest shots I've ever come across on any Zen
Yeah,
table.
I know. You
And
brick everything.
oh yeah, you slightly miss, and nope, your ball's not going to make it. And the thing that's really infuriating about this is some of these shots are basically what would be normally your common shots. These are
Mm.
things that you need to be able to hit a lot and frequently because you need to hit this twice in order to get this portion of the thing activated, and then you can go ahead and do this. And it's for starting your main modes.
That's right.
So
It is. It's main driven.
yeah, so anytime that starting a mode is this much of a hassle is
It's like,
ridiculous.
I know, it's not much fun. It's you're right. Every time I play it, I can't even get to the point where I'm like starting a mode or even like lighting a lock or anything like that. Sort of
Right.
the basic progression things that you want to do in a pinball machine. It's just like it's such a slog to get to that, and it's just like, no, I'm done. This table is just unplayable. It's like it's like a whiteboard proto that they
Right.
didn't take proto, and it's like,
Right.
oh yeah,
And the
this.
thing of it is there's not much scoring unless you can get a mode started. Now, if
Yeah,
you get
that's
the
right.
mode started, then it becomes the little cardboard cutout Jedi's and Sith Lords pop up in the middle of the table, and you don't want to hit whichever side you're battling for. So
Mm.
if you're a Jedi, you don't want to hit your Jedi. You want to only hit Darth Maul. That's when you score your points. But it's a
Ah,
table that goes from
I haven't even got
scoring.
that far.
Yeah. Well, basically, you go from scoring tens of thousands of points to that mode where you're scoring millions.
All
So
right.
it's
Okay.
for a table that's all about balance of the force, it's completely unbalanced. and
Uh,
and then there's also this weird thing they call them holocrons. Now, I don't remember a holocron ever being in a Star Wars movie. I have no idea what the heck they're talking about. But
no.
there's these Jedi holocrons and Sith holocrons, and by hitting them, you wind up locking a ball, I'm assuming, and then it opens up this little mini playfield thing, which also
Yeah.
turns out to be one of the most annoying mini playfields that Zen has ever produced.
Yeah. It is incredibly insufferable.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's absolutely painful. So that would be my number 13. Number 12. Now this one I think you actually like, Jared, but it's
oh,
Might of the First Order.
Might of the First Order. Is that the one with the big flame trail thing poking
Yeah,
up?
where there's a stormtrooper with a flamethrower. This also is the one that has the sunken playfield. Um,
Oh yeah, where the balls look like they're actually traveling on the top of the playfield, but they're not. Yeah,
right.
that's actually all right. I had some fun with that.
So the problem that I have with this one is it desperately needs dynamic lighting so that when you're going to be playing the lower playfield, that everything else darkens out, and then that lightens
Yes.
up. Because I can never tell when I'm playing that field or the top field, and I always get it wrong, and the ball drops so fast that it winds up going right through the flippers on the bottom playfield, and then I'm back to playing on the top. And it's just that
Yeah.
over and over again for me. And then
It's
on
weird.
top,
I don't have that problem in mobile at all. I'm quite easily able to distinguish the top from the bottom. Maybe it's got something to do with the dynamic lighting you guys get on Steam.
well, no, but
Um,
we don't have any dynamic. I mean, there is no dynamic
ah,
lighting in Zen.
okay. Well, then it must just be
Me.
it must just be you. Yeah, it's all your fault, Chris.
Yeah, it's all my fault. But it's also one of these tables where uh, so much of it is obscured. Like
Yeah,
the shooting lanes, you see just the entrance of a lane, and then it's obscured by whatever stacked on top of it, and so it
yeah.
just kind of becomes one of these things that are difficult to see. Now, interestingly enough, those two tables both designed by the same designer.
Ah, okay. Right. It's quite tiny.
It's Zoltan.
Oh, Zoltan. Okay.
Now, Zoltan also designed Fear Itself and Wolverine. Those are two tables I liked, but
Hmm.
he's also the man responsible for Shaman, Tesla, Eldorado, V12, Excalibur, Paranormal, Secrets of the Deep. So,
Oh, okay.
um,
You
oh, and
don't mess
actually,
with the Zoltan.
I don't know. The other thing I was going to mention with Masters of the Force, and this also does apply to Might of the First Order, um, dead passes. The ball, you like the ball will come, and normally if a ball hits towards the upper portion of the flipper, it's going to bounce pass over to the other flipper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on these tables, it hits there and it just goes boom, like a rocket down straight down the middle. But
Mm.
if it's towards the middle to front of the flipper, then it'll do a proper bounce over.
Sounds
So
like
it's,
they've balked the tuning on it.
yeah, it's got some very and his on all of his tables, the ball is that lead weight. It's very dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't have much bounce to it. So they're very clunky feeling.
And all the pop bumpers are not tuned to be really responsive and everything. Like they feel
Right,
dead. Everything feels
right.
floppy and sloppy. Yeah, I hate
So
that.
essentially, everything that people hate about Zen tables,
It's all
I'm attributing to
Zoltan's
him.
fault.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all Zoltan's fault. Yeah.
So number 11, I'm putting at Starfighter Assault. Again, one of these split in half tables. Half of it is Empire, half of it is Rebel.
Mm.
The game itself, I don't have like it can be fun, but it is visually difficult to look at.
Yeah, it is.
There's
It's
so
hard.
much going on that you can't tell what's a ramp and what's just a toy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you hit the pop bumpers, lasers start flying all over the place, and I mean,
It's
there's
very
also
busy.
yeah, it's very busy. And then on top of that, the mission hole up at the top, and it's very difficult to hit. Let's just put it that way.
Oh yeah, off to the side. It's actually sort of invisible from most views,
Yes,
and you got to like do a combo to get into it, sort of thing.
exactly. And
Yeah,
I
it's a bit
think
of a trip.
mission holes should never be requiring a combo.
No. Or any sort of HUD. It should be a direct shot into it,
Right,
basically.
right. Um, Moving on, number 9, or excuse me, that was 11. Number 10, Boba Fett. Which, hey, look at that! It's also designed by Zoltan.
All
Um,
right. Yeah, I
um,
could never get into this game either. It just seems like out of the first Star Wars pack, it's the one I never play
well, my
ever.
problem with it is that it's hurry up city, and the hurry ups are
Mm,
way too quick,
yeah.
and you don't have enough time to figure out, like, catch the ball and then figure out where you're going to be shooting before the hurry up ends.
Mm,
So that's my problem with that table. If you put in enough time, you start learning it and kind of start getting the patterns of it, and that's interesting. But then if you
mm.
don't play it for a couple of days and you go back to it, you're back at square one. So it's
Yes. It's sort of like, yeah, you're done. You have to relearn it all over again.
yeah. Number 9, I'm putting Darth Vader. Boring
Uh,
table. Just
yeah.
painfully boring. It's a grind fest for scoring,
Yeah.
and there's there's just not much going on. I mean, there's a lot of trails for the ball to go,
Yeah.
but it's just a grind fest. And the next thing you know, you open up one multi-ball, and it's stacked upon stacked, and now that you have no hope of meeting any of the jackpots or whatever because you don't know what the heck you're supposed to be shooting at because balls are all over the place.
Yeah. So it's like shoot anything. It's pretty much what it is.
You-
Shoot anything and
and hope that you scored well, yeah.
yeah, that's right.
That was one of the tables that took me a long time to beat Xenia's score on, just
Yeah.
because it is a grind fest, and it's just like, oh my god, the slog. um,
Yeah, I just don't have much patience for those tables. If it's not instant gratification, I can start playing it nice and easily, then I'm not interested in playing it really.
yeah. Number 8, I'm putting Han Solo. Hey, look
Hmm.
at that, another Zoltan table.
Yeah. Han Solo, is that the one that's set in the forest? Or like,
No,
in...
no, Han Solo's got the cantina, set into the cantina.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
Um,
pretty... Yeah.
the thing I don't mind about it is that it's very forgiving.
Mm,
Unlike Boba Fett, Han Solo is very forgiving with the ramps. The
yeah.
problem is the entire time you're going, what the hell is going on?
Yes.
Figuring out what you're supposed to even do to get anything started is just a mystery.
Yeah, you really do need to read the walkthrough of that
Yeah,
table to understand. Um, mean, you shouldn't really have to. Like, pinball's all about being intuitive. You should be able to
Well,
pick it up and start playing it.
I literally 2 days ago did just that. Read the
Mm.
walkthrough, then was able to play, get my score. I revisited it just an hour before we record this podcast. So 2 days later, I had no clue what to do again.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's not a good when it doesn't stick. So the only reason why it's above the other ones that are in front of it, the other five, is just because of it being forgiving, and it can be fun to kind of bash around on. And once you do know what's going on, it's entertaining. But
Mm.
there's where it ends.
It takes a long time to get there.
Yeah. Moving forward, now we're into kind of this zone where they're all kind of the samey for me, and they're enjoyable, but they don't really stand out. And that is A New Hope, Droids, Empire, and Return of the Jedi.
I don't like droids much at all.
So Droids, it's again you got to learn it. Once you've learned it, it becomes a very flowy table.
Yeah.
Which
it's another one of those spell a ramp mode ones, isn't it? Like everything is.
Yeah, I guess well, there's spell a ramp in order to build up what that lane is worth, essentially, for jackpot purposes. But there's also a lot of modes. There's about 6 different modes. And the modes are fairly fun. This is done by the same guy that did Super League and Aliens, Thomas Cross. Okay. So I think I personally like. Well, Aliens is probably my favorite table that's been put out on Zen. Super League I really do have a good time with.
Yeah, but it's fun.
But it's hard to get a flow going. Droids, you can get the flow going, but you are correct. You gotta figure out what it is that you're supposed to be shooting ahead of time. Once you get that down, then it becomes a much more open, fun table. But it also can be a grind fest.
Yeah, exactly.
New Hope just kind of nothing stands out to me. But what I love about New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi, basically everything that these are all by Peter Graffel, also known as Deep. He's got the bounce.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yes,
that's what needs to happen on all tables. They need to have that bounce, the Graffel bounce, as we'll call it, or deep bounce.
And going from me playing Zoltan tables and then all of a sudden throwing in one of his, it was like, whoa, hey, this is like TPA. This is great.
Yeah, exactly. This is like it should be. Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So then I mean, interchangeable for me as Empire, Return of the Jedi. Once I figured out what was going on in Return of the Jedi, I really had a good time with it. Probably more so than Empire, but it's minuscule.
Yeah, right.
But that leads me then to my top 3. So the first one, number 3 would be Rebels.
All right.
Which is based off the animated.
Oh yes.
Most recent animated show.
Yep.
And the reason why I really like this one is because starting the modes is not terribly difficult. The modes themselves are fun and challenging.
Yeah, they are definitely challenging. They're not easy to because they actually follow on from each other, don't they? If you complete one, the next one starts automatically and stuff.
I don't. You know what? I'm not quite positive on that because I don't know if I've ever actually completed any of the modes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. They seem to. The modes are actually really long.
They're in multi-parts. Is usually what it is.
I think that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so you complete one part of the mode, and then the next part of the mode starts up, and so it'll be kind of all of a sudden you have to shift your tactics. You know, you've been used to hitting a certain ramp over and over again, and all of a sudden it's like, nope, don't hit that anymore. Now you got to do this over here.
Yeah, I like
the only problem with Rebels is there are a lot of countdown timers in it. Now the countdown timers are fairly generous, but it still is a bummer because if you don't complete the mode, then you got to try it all over again from scratch.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I love about Aliens and that I like about Force. I think with Force Awakens it did it. Force Awakens, I guess, remembered what part of the mode that you'd done, but with Aliens, for sure, so long as you start the mode, you're good. You can move on.
Yes.
So that's always kind of nice. My number 2 table.
It's that thing.
Yeah.
Aliens. It's just got so many.
My number 2 table is Clone Wars. Also based on the animated show. it's just a ramp combo heaven. You can, and it's a bit of a grind fest also, but it's a very satisfying grind fest because once you
That's the
start
one
getting
with
in,
that's the one with the really overexcited announcer.
yes,
Yeah, I don't really enjoy that game that much.
yeah.
No, I think because of the announcer and sort of I think it is the fact that it is a grind fest sort of takes the enjoyment away from me a bit. But yeah, that's just me.
Now, interesting, the designer of Clone Wars is the same guy that did Darth Vader.
Oh,
He's
okay.
also the same guy that did Iron Man, and you know me, I like Iron Man, so
Yeah, yeah, bizarre.
it is
I
bizarre.
really wish. Apparently, they do actually put the table designer on the tables somewhere, like their name.
Okay.
Apparently, I found this out, but I haven't been able to see it easily. Um, so yeah, having that list is much better out on the Zen forum because they actually have a list of all the designers on there.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's what I was
Um,
looking them all up on.
yeah, it was good.
My number one table is Force Awakens, which I think was a home run for them.
Yeah.
It just basically hit all the sweet spots of what I like about Zen tables and what tables are capable of, but also had the proper physics that I enjoy. It's just
Mm.
really an enjoyable table.
Yeah, that's right. Which is the one that's set in the forest
That would be
again?
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I don't mind that. There's something about that table that I'm actually okay with.
Once I was
It's
able to open up there's like a hologram of the second Death Star that pops up, a big red hologram in the middle.
yeah,
And when you shoot, it's got kind of a spinner a la,
Totan.
yes,
Hmm.
Tales of Arabian Nights, that also then syncs and captures your balls and everything, but it also then winds up bringing up two holographic images on the left and right side that are two different kinds of play fields also. So
Yeah,
everything, you never zoom into a play field, a mini play field, it all pops up there on the table. Um,
yeah,
and once I started getting that stuff opened and everything, I really started enjoying it a lot.
yeah. You went, oh, I had to go and do that again. Like
Hmm.
you want the table to actually make you go, I must get up to that point again. Which is why I think the aliens tables are just so attractive because you
Right.
want to get to all the modes. Like you go, oh, I got up to levels, I got up to mode 6. Oh, I wonder what mode 7 is.
Yeah.
You know, and it drives you to go forward and drives you to replay it. I think that's the secret to Zen tables. That's what they need to design. They need to make you want to come back, and a lot of them
So
don't.
Otherwise, yeah, don't. So here's my invitation to everybody. If you want to join in this kind of fun and join in the taunting, I welcome it. Taunt me
Yes,
at Shut Your Traps on Twitter, and just tell me what table it is that you just crushed my score on, and we'll see if I take you up on the challenge or not. Like I said, there's certain people that if they come in and say they crush my score, I'm gonna look at their score and go, "Yep, you sure did."
yeah, you sure do. And I'm not going to go there at all because I'm never going to get there. See, for me, it's hard because, of course, scores are not cross-platform, so I would
Uh,
not be able to compete with you on Steam and give you an absolute flogging. So, so I could only play on Android, and we've got some good players on Android too. I think. I don't know if Sven hangs out on Android. I think he actually just sticks around on Steam a lot.
for the
But we
most part, yeah.
have Neil Treby, who's also in the Farsight beta testing volunteers as well, and he's a very good player on there on the tables. He's always first in my leaderboards, and I usually there's another guy called Dirk who is Mad07 on the forums.
Okay.
So he is a pretty good player as well, actually, on there. And I managed to beat some of his scores occasionally, but yeah, I'm usually around third or second on most tables. Um, so I need to lift out my game. So I'll have a go this week as well. See if I can get some time on the Star Wars tables, and see how my scores go. And I'll post my leaderboard screen on that I get at the end of each game to show you where I'm currently sitting, so everyone can follow along at home.
And gang, on Steam, I'm pretty much across every platform. I'm Shut Your Trap or Shut Your Traps. It's kind of, sometimes they make me add the S because apparently somebody else already took the name.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is just look at the games. If you see Zen Pinball and Pinball Arcade in there, that's me. Um,
Yep.
and go ahead and friend me. And pretty much anybody that asks, so long as I see that they're playing pinball, I say, yep, you can be my friend. And then you can look at my scores and play it that way.
Yeah.
That is I'm seriously, I wish Pinball Arcade did what Zen does with the, as you're playing, seeing who's next up on the scores that you're chasing, because it just magnifies for me the fun of it. Because I'll be just bashing along, not even thinking about it, and all of a sudden, boom, the notice pops up. Hey, you're up.
Yeah.
You're almost. And also, the palms get sweaty. It's like, I can take care of that score. And then if you don't, that's exactly the motivation for me to go right back into the game.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
So close. As opposed to with
score is fantastic. They so need to do that on Pinball Arcade. Like it's just
Pinball
such a
Arcade is
driving
let me go check the leaderboards, and you go check the leaderboards, and then you're looking, and you gotta cycle into your friends, and then you gotta remember, so I have 28 million, they're at 34 million. Oh, okay, fine. So then you go and you play the game, and sure enough, you get that 34 million, and you're like, oh, but I was in 6th place, this person was in 5th place, so now who's 1 through 4? So
exactly.
Whereas on Steam, it's always telling you who the next person is, until you become number 1, and then even then it pops up now you got to beat the super score of this person, which is a combination of all your scores across all the tables.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. They really need to do that. And again, like we were talking about on a couple of episodes ago, where Farside had their own sort of account system, they need to utilize that a lot more to do this type of thing. It's just so logical for them to do it, but they don't seem to. So it's one of those things that I can just think of the answer now. Yes, we'd love to make a integrated Farside ID system that allows you to track everything. That would be the response.
Yep. I think the response that I got a long time ago regarding that was, well, Zen is a custom program, and we are dealing with ROMs and emulation.
Right. Okay. All right. So we had this guy. It's joining us on the chat at the moment, and we've never heard of him before. And then he comes back in and says, "Oh, it's actually Sven." But the username is like Miscerato Canicia Canis Roa Santorium D. And I'll go, what the? But yeah, it's actually Sven. So there you go.
Okay, that is very, very funny. Can I unmute him then? I want to hear what he has to say.
Yes.
Why am I not being able to unmute? Let's try.
That's muted you.
That was the wrong button.
That was the cracker. So you click on the dude, I think.
I'm clicking on the dude, and nothing's happening. I permanently muted him, I guess. And it's not letting me unmute.
Oh.
Wait.
I need to unmute myself as well.
It wasn't at our end, it was your end.
So we know Jared's going to be editing this portion out, so let's start fresh. So Sven, hello stranger, who had some weird, bizarre login name.
It's a different account I use for YouTube.
Oh, I see.
And depends on excuse me. I'm a bit surprised. Usually when I'm in Google Plus or Hangouts, it uses automatically my other my real name handle, but no, it doesn't.
Not this time.
But anyway, now you know who I am.
Yes. So now that you've heard my assessment and Jared's agreement on all the various Zen Star Wars tables, what do you agree with any of my assessments?
Yeah, the first one, of course, being Balance of the Force.
Yeah.
I really despise this table. It's terrible.
It is. It is horrible.
when you asked me to exclude this out of our little war, I immediately said yes, please. No discussion about that. I'm quite curious. The droids table.
Yeah.
That was one of the tables I didn't buy on Android, I believe, when they had the last sale, because I didn't like it very much. But playing it today and looking a bit into the rules and so, it turned out to be quite a nice table.
It is. Once you can get any of the modes started,
Yep.
then the modes are a blast, and they're hard. They are difficult, but the modes themselves are really fun.
True.
It's just getting them started that's a little bit tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like the Force Awakens that much to put it on rank 1. It's a nice table. I like to play it. I think the one I'm like most is probably the Starfighter's table.
Really? Starfighter Assault?
Yes, yes. I think that's the one I played most. I agree with you on the ones Han Solo and what was it?
Boba Fett, Darth Vader.
Boba Fett is a different story. Darth Vader, I agree. Boba Fett, I played today. You remember?
Yeah, I do. That's the other table that he tweeted that he'd beat me on droids and Boba Fett, and then I tweeted him back, "These are not the droids we're looking for."
I hate you for that.
But Boba Fett, the score he posted, that's gonna be very, very tough for me to take care of. Because
by the way, you were talking about the Boba Fett and the timed shots.
Yeah.
You know that when you get to the bounty, you have the selection between 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, and 50 million.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
I have seen that, and I figured that portion out. What I've not been able to figure out is what the heck are the missiles and how do you use them?
Yeah, I haven't figured that out yet as well. I could have looked it up, but I was too lazy.
Right.
Because you're aware of the table descriptions which are on the blog of Zen Pinball or
Yes.
Zen Studios, with all the detailed descriptions. I'm pretty sure this will be mentioned there. But as I said, it's the same for me. I don't know what they do. But depending on whether you choose 10 million, 20 million, and so on, I think the timer is different on those shots.
If you pick 10 million, there's no timer at all. If you pick 40 million, it's a very quick timer. But even if you're not doing the missions with the timers, even if you're just doing the combo ramps, they time out so fast. And the way the ball drops into your flippers, you're having to do a live flick. It's not even a roll and flick. There's no time to catch the ball and flick. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, I like it, and the other table you didn't seem to like is the other one from the both new ones. What was the name?
Might of the First Order?
Yeah, exactly. I pretty much like that, yeah. Maybe, not sure whether more or on the same level as Force Awakens now. I think they are both nice tables.
There you go, difference of opinions.
Yeah, that's why.
And Rebels is a nice one as well.
Rebels it's fun. I like it. So Jared is all of our listeners. You can be thankful. Jared has a hard out today, so we're not going to go terribly long.
Not like we did last time. That was pretty long. So how you know how I was talking about?
It was all my fault.
It was all your fault. So
it's all your fault, Sven.
We're going to make sure that's not your fault anymore. We're going to mute you again.
Yeah.
Bye, Sven. Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Yeah, that's good. The mystery is solved. Hey, look, I was looking at looking at the leaderboard scores for me on the Force Awakens, and yeah, it's like it's always Martin Rusby. Like for me, I'm sitting at about 66 million on that one, and Martin is like 265 million. So
Yeah. I mean, that's
he's a huge difference.
yeah. When you have to like 4 times your score, your
Yeah, it's
best
like
score.
I can't do that. No, I just can't get
It's
there.
very reminiscent of our talk last week with the
Exactly.
tournament. So
Oh yeah.
I wanted to highlight just briefly one thing that came about with the tournament. So Junkyard being one of the tables, turns out that Junkyard is one of those tables that does Midnight Madness if your clock turns midnight.
Ah.
Midnight Madness scoring bonanza.
Oh, right.
So what
Okay.
people have been doing in the tournament is setting their internal clock on their machine to
To
strike midnight while
11:57.
they're playing it, so they can actually have a chance to score well on that table. Because getting to outer space in 10-minute time period is really
Impossible.
tough. It's not
Yeah, real
impossible,
tough.
but you gotta be nailing everything perfect. So. I just thought that was interesting that one more of those things where if Farsight would be able to put in tournament rules, that would not be
Yeah.
an exploit. But
No, that's right. It would turn off Midnight Madness, deactivate it. Yeah.
yeah, there was a few people that once they discovered that was possible, they pretty much threw up their hands in disgust and were like, "All right, I'm not even going to try for that table score anymore."
Yeah. This is I'm calling shenanigans. Let me go and get my broom.
Right, right.
And speaking of Farsight, they've done a bit of an extra beta on Android that they're testing at the moment on the back of the last release, which was April Deluxe, to respond to a lot of the feedback they've been getting about like EM flipper noises from certain individuals.
Yeah.
Me being one of them.
Uh-huh.
They have put in the hold hum noise for the flippers, which is great. But
It
the problem is at the moment it's not in the Android sound pool, so there's a 250 millisecond delay between your flipping and the flipper holding and then the sound playing. And it actually got me looking into more of the flipper-related stuff from a sound effects perspective, and I've noticed a few bugs which I've told them about. And like if you're on Android at the moment, the latest build, public build, will have this problem as well, so you can play along at home. But if you listen through headphones, you'll notice that there's actually no flipper stroke sound anymore in the game. And
No.
there is actually a sound when the flipper goes back to its rest position.
Okay.
They've got that sound in there, but there's actually no flip noise anymore. And it hasn't been in there for a while, I think. So that's another thing that needs to be fixed. And as I thought would happen with the hold noise,
Yeah.
there's two ways they could solve the problem with having the flip sound come in and then the hold sound trigger as well, and that is to record the flipper stroke and hold noise as one sound sample, as like a 10-second sound sample, for example. So you had zero delay when you actually flip and then hold. So it's just like one continuous sound bite, rather than being them stitched together like they do now with the audio.
Right.
And then maybe add in for people who are holding the flipper up for more than 10 seconds, put in an extra sound for like an extra hold loop that just plays over and over again in a loop. Because at the moment, what it does is they've recorded the hold winding sound for about 7 seconds, so it loops and there's a definite cut between each looping point, and it just sounds like, ugh. I just hear it and I go, no. Yeah, and so I think they really need to actually record the stroke and hold sound as one sound bite and make it like 10 seconds, because no one really on an EM will be holding a ball for longer than 10 seconds anyhow.
No.
So I think that would be a good user experience.
In real life, you didn't do that because the carbon arcing smell would make you think that you're about to fry the table, and people would start giving you dirty looks. So you go ahead and just flip the ball just so that
Yeah, that's right.
you didn't get kicked off the table for abusing it.
The other thing that I've got a problem with the whole winding at the moment, which I'm sure will be fixed because we are feeding back quite a lot of information to them about it, is the fact that the sound itself is really quiet. And if you've been in front of an EM with a winding hold noise, you know it's loud. It is really, really quite loud. Like when you hold it, the whole machine actually vibrates if it's badly maintained, and it goes zzz, it's an audible hum. whereas this is really quiet. And it's because Farsight claim that when they do the audio, they mix it with a glass off audio mix. Then this is definitely not glass off. This is more glass on, but even quieter than glass on. So I said, yeah, you need to boost it about 50%, and sort of make it about the same volume as the pop bumper sounds in the game. Because if they're coils, they should be making the same sort of volume level matched with the other coils in the game. So, yeah, that's the feedback I've given them. Let's see what they can roll in to it. I even did like videos, and they were in response to some of the guys on the forum that were having a few issues with finding out where they were in the tournament. They've also rolled into this beta some buttons that you can use to sort your position, in the tournament. So they've taken away all the table sort buttons, like all the grouping buttons, and just put 2 in there. There's a few, I guess, usability issues that I found in the beta, which I've told them about, and I've hopefully that they'll be able to address those issues. Just like what I don't know if it's like this on Steam, but they seem to overload the meaning of the buttons, where the button is actually a label as well. So almost like a heading for the view. So, for example, if you've got like a list of people, like a leaderboard list, then the label might be top score. So the button label might be, top score. But then if you tap it, the button label changes to like individual score, like your own score. But the thing is, with a button, you need to know what state it will do when you tap it, not the current state.
Right.
So buttons should always be future state, and what they are at the moment is current state. So I've told them that's wrong, and you need to change that. Or one of the 2 things you can do: you can actually change the button to be future state, or you can actually make a proper heading on the page that takes the label out and then change the button label to something like change listing or something like that. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit of better UX on the buttons there, but that's just a minor quibble. The fact that we can actually now group and sort on the tournament results is good. I think definitely good.
Yes, as opposed to having to go to a separate website, which is what we've been having to do.
Which is no good, no fun.
Yeah, it's not the most efficient way of doing things.
No.
I also want to just kind of highlight something I'd been doing the past. I just finished the other day, but I'd been doing it for 22 days in a row. It was this push-up challenge. And it was do 22 push-ups a day for 22 days. And basically what it was for was to raise awareness for post-traumatic stress disorder among soldiers or former military. Because every single day 22 individuals commit suicide due to being overcome by post-traumatic stress disorder.
And that's 22 people too many.
22 people too many, yeah. So what started out, basically I was alerted to this challenge because one of our forum members, Leroy III, he was doing the challenge, started posting. And it was supposed to be then you're supposed to challenge somebody else and, that whole ice bucket thing. Yeah, I don't go for that. I don't like the peer pressure. So I was just like, it's interesting. Why don't I'm not going to wait for him to challenge me. I'm just going to do it. Yeah. So if I did post the stuff on Twitter, never got a response, which doesn't surprise me because it was all linked through my Instagram. So if you want to see,
I didn't see any videos or anything playing. Were there videos?
It's videos, but it was basically a link to my Instagram. So the easier way is just go to my Instagram account, and yes, you guessed it, just look up Shut Your Traps, and there you go. And you'll see the videos. I tried to do a different push-up every single day, a different type of push-up, to try and keep it interesting, and there were a few that were kind of comical.
The ones that I didn't actually go and watch any of the videos because I was expecting them to sort of start playing, and I went to the tweet and I was going, why aren't these playing? No, whatever, and I just backed out. But there was one of them that had you in a frame with like doing push-ups on 2 tennis balls, but your feet were on a block. Yes. And I thought that's insane.
Yeah, there was a few stunt push-ups that I was doing. So anyway, I just wanted to highlight because it is a good cause, and it's one of those things where go ahead and do it for yourself. Not to mention, hey, you feel good at the end of the day after doing 22 push-ups.
I don't know if I could actually do 22 push-ups. I could do 22 lady push-ups.
That's what Leroy was starting off with, and
Yeah.
by the end of his session, he was actually able to do 5 manly push-ups.
Manually push-ups. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So you just got to chip away at it with one push-up at a time.
Chip away.
Hey.
The last thing that I was going to mention is I'm rather looking forward to doing this, and whenever I get a chance to recommend this particular movie, I do, because I think it's a brilliantly fun, and we're so far away from when it was released that you probably, if you have not seen it or heard of it, then you don't know anything about it, and that's the best way to go into it. So I'll ask you, Jared, have you ever seen a movie called The Descent?
The Descent? I don't
Yes.
think so.
Well, do yourself a favor and watch it. And I'm saying this to everybody. So here's the point. Do not read any descriptions about it.
Right.
Just watch the movie.
Okay.
Because the less you know about it, the more fun it is. I will say what the basic premise is, and that is a group of adventurer women go cave diving.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And things go a little bit wrong in the cave.
Right.
And
Okay.
if you suffer from any kind of claustrophobia, this is going to be the scariest movie you've ever seen.
Okay. So warning, claustrophobics may not want to watch this unless they're in a well-lit room during the day.
Right. Now, it is also a horror movie, which means that when accidents happen, they're kind of grisly.
Okay.
And accidents do happen. So,
Because it's a horror movie.
Yes.
It wouldn't be a
So-
horror movie unless accidents happen.
what I'm excited about is I am going to be lending this movie to somebody that I know tomorrow, and I can't wait to hear their response because they've already told me that they are deeply claustrophobic.
Oh.
And
See, I can't watch. There's a lot of horror movies or slash flicks that I wouldn't mind watching, but the problem is that my wife hates them. She will refuse to watch them on movie night, so I would need to go and just hire them out and just watch them on my commute into the city or something like that.
Yeah.
Each day. She just hard passes them all the time. Nope, not watching them.
yeah, and I don't know if you'd be able to sucker her into something like this. It's a very slow build
All right.
in
No,
terms
she-
of like
She-
you
she
might
read it.
get 20 minutes in and not realize what kind of movie you're about to be getting into, that kind of thing. So I don't know if you were
She wouldn't go for it.
anyway. So I'll hopefully be able to report back to you next week then what this guy's response was, because I think it's going to be a one of
Let's
those
see if I
I
can
wish that I
fit it
had a
in.
hidden camera while he was watching it moment.
I'll see if I can fit it in. I'll see if I can maybe get it out and hire it and download it and watch it over the course of the week on my commutes in. And
I said it's called The Descent. It's directed by Neil Marshall, I believe is his name,
yeah.
who I think is an Aussie.
Okay.
But anyway, that's enough of my nonsense. Let's let Jared get out of here at a decent time.
Yeah, that's right. Because hey, look, we're actually ahead of schedule. It's 7 minutes ahead. So,
Well, we're ahead, but that just leads us to, hey, if you want to talk to us at all, why don't you go ahead and follow us on Twitter at BlahCade, or you can follow Jared at Jared Morgs, or myself at Shut Your Traps. Want to send us an email? Go ahead and do that. We are at blahcade@gmail.com, or you can just go to our website, BlahCadePinball.com. All the good info is right there. That's where you can also download all of our episodes, see all the timing notes of basic descriptions of what everything is going on in the show, and so that you can fast forward right to your favorite moment, because we know that that's what you people do.
that's right. Yeah. So enjoy.
Enjoy. Fantastic. Well, hey, happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you.
For you in that weird time. We here in America are having Labor Day, and which means 3-day weekend, and I have no idea what's going on for Ksenia in Germany. Probably beer.
Yeah. That's a default thing. That is sausage, beer and sausage.
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
Or is it sausage or bratwurst? I'm going to go with bratwurst. All right, so until next time, play some pinball, huh?
Yeah. See you later, guys.
All right, bye-bye.